This morning, there is international reaction to the new Israeli law that bans the UN Palestinian Refugee Agency from operating in the country. The UN Secretary-General says the move will have devastating consequences. Sasha Petrusik leads our CBC News team on the ground in Israel. He is live in Jerusalem this hour. This is what we were talking about yesterday, Sasha, this move to get rid of UNRWA, to disallow it in Israel. Tell us about the move itself from Israel and any early reaction to this.
Yes, Heather. This law, actually two laws, were passed very quickly with a very large majority in the Israeli parliament, the Knesset, last night. And they effectively, together, will ban UNRWA from operating in the occupied Palestinian territories, in Gaza, in East Jerusalem, annexed East Jerusalem as well, where Israel is in control. And it has effectively said UNRWA cannot operate in Israel, which means not in these other areas as well. That affects some 6 million Palestinians in these other territories, the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem. That means things like healthcare, things like education, but it is most critical in Gaza, where UNRWA is the main provider of humanitarian care for Palestinians there, and obviously they are in a position where they need it desperately right now, especially food aid, but also medical aid and a number of other facilities which are now sheltering most of that population. They are also the main humanitarian agency in the territory, which means that other NGOs also rely on UNRWA there. Israel has long said that UNRWA is actually helping Hamas, that it is funneling help, aid, sometimes facilities to Hamas. It's saying during this conflict that UNRWA's facilities, its schools, its hospitals, clinics, and other offices have been used by Hamas for launching attacks and for its headquarters, and that a handful of the 13,000 employees that UNRWA has in Gaza were involved in one form or another in the attacks last October 7th. That is what Israel has said. UNRWA has said it does not allow any of its facilities to be used by Hamas or any other militants knowingly, and that whenever it has a suspected employee who may be part of Hamas or may be a militant, that person is purged from the organization. Now, lots of reaction, as you mentioned. You mentioned António Guterres, the head of the UN. He is warning of devastating consequences in Gaza, where there is already a shortage of aid, really tough time delivering it, especially to central Gaza and northern Gaza, where things are really, really critical right now. He said that he calls on Israel to comply with its obligations under the Charter of the UN and under international law, and that it can't simply pass a national law that does away with those obligations. He says there is no alternative to UNRWA. The head of UNRWA was also tweeting today saying that this will only deepen the suffering and make it even worse for people who are suffering sheer hell. Now, we go into Gaza now to hear from one of the people running the UNRWA operation there, Sam Rose, who's been there for a long time. This is what he had to say today.
It would be absolutely devastating. We have a population here that's on its knees, going through absolutely untold misery and suffering, and the role that UNRWA is playing here is unprecedented for any other humanitarian organization anywhere in the world.
Now, there's also been reaction from several European countries, Spain and Ireland, who have also warned of the devastating consequences that this could bring to Gaza. Canada and other countries, when Israel first made its accusations against UNRWA and that it was somehow helping Hamas, back in January, Canada and some other countries suspended funding to UNRWA while this was investigated. Canada has since reinstated that funding, as have most other countries. And we heard late last night from the U.S. saying that this was a very, very, very difficult and that it was a move that it was not supporting and that it was only going to deepen the suffering in Gaza. Heather?
Sasha, thank you so much. Sasha Petrusik live from Jerusalem with us this morning.